The January 6th committee has referred former President Donald Trump to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution. Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam Schiff, said there is sufficient evidence that Trump committed multiple crimes and that it is past time for him to face justice.
Trump was referred on 4 separate charges, including inciting, assisting, or aiding and comforting an insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and conspiracy to make a false statement, The Hill reports. Representative Liz Cheney reflected on Trump's alleged behavior on January 6th.
President Trump sat in the dining room off the Oval Office, watching the violent riot at the Capitol on television. For hours, he would not issue a public statement instructing his supporters to disperse and leave the Capitol, despite urgent pleas from his White House staff and dozens of others to do so. No man who would behave that way at that moment in time can ever serve in any position of authority in our nation again. He is unfit for any office.
So here's what's so frustrating about that.
Yeah.
I agree with what she just said. Mm-hmm. He should have issued a statement. He should have done things differently. He shouldn't have said untrue things about the election for weeks and then stoked a mob of his supporters to take the action they did. Mm-hmm. He should never be president again because of it. I agree with all that. Mm-hmm. But it's not a crime. You can't prosecute him for that. You just shouldn't vote for him again. Or you should have, and by you I mean the Senate, could have impeached him. They held that vote. He was acquitted. Case closed. It's over. Move on. You have to defeat him in the ballot box if you want to defeat him. That's the only way. And this, I'm sorry, this just endless parade of possible criminal charges. And in fact, that will make his supporters rally around him harder because it has the appearance of like illegitimacy of the deep state or the system itself trying to prevent you from being able to vote on whether you want Donald Trump as your president again. From a rhetorical standpoint, I agree with her that he's unfit to be president, but you have to let Americans make that choice. It's not criminal in the actual criminal sense. He said bad things. He did bad things. Hold him accountable for it in the ballot box, but that's where it has to be.
Yeah, my critique is similar, but it's more along the lines of, to the extent that there might be real crimes that he can legitimately be charged with and convicted of. To the extent that they might actually discover those and successfully litigate those. The fact of it being couched so obviously as a device to prevent him from running for president again makes even folks who in good faith would be concerned about him violating the law unwilling to perhaps engage really substantively with the things that he may have done because it seems so politically motivated. Mm-hmm. Because it is pretty expressly politically motivated. When you're sitting there saying he should never be president again on the heels of, you're devoting more airspace, frankly, to talking about how this man should never be president than the substance of the underlying crimes, how can you really, be confused about why the public doesn't seem to be buying into this? Especially, to your point, since we've been through this now a couple of times already.
And I'm not ruling out the possibility that he committed an actual crime. I'm sure he committed actual crimes, just as I'm sure Biden has committed actual crimes, and Obama and George W. Bush, and probably every president who's ever served, minus like William Henry Harrison, who died 28 days into office. But these are procedural. This is BS. This is comforting an insurrection. You had to look that up before. You didn't believe it.
Teleprompter, is that a real thing? Comforting an insurrection?
Well, then then we have to debate whether it was an insurrection. Yeah. It was a spontaneous mob action to which he bears moral responsibility. I'm not like dancing around that. It's just not a crime. Everything bad that happens is not a crime. It's not call the police, lock him up.
Again, I don't know. I have not been investigating Donald Trump, and I confess that this is not the beat that I've been paying the most attention to. So I'm open to the idea that there are real crimes. Certainly Donald Trump has broken the law in the past in his kind of personal financial dealings and things like that. So anything is possible. But if it were me, if I were the one pressing this issue in Congress, if I were Liz Cheney, I would take a different posture. I would say, look, I know there's a lot of other things that we are concerned about. There's a lot of other things that are more important to the American people. There's a lot of other better ways for us to be using our time as Congress members. And it's disgusting that we have to go through this again. But it is my obligation to make sure that justice is served and that people aren't able to get away with crime. So let's dispatch of this. Make it clear that prosecuting Trump is not my entire personality and try to distance myself from charges that this is a vendetta. But someone like Liz Cheney has literally recast her entire political identity around this Trump stuff. And I understand why. Obviously, she lost her status entirely, her position in the Republican Party as a consequence of being willing to say that Trump should be impeached. And I understand that. But I think over and over again, a lot of these establishment politicians don't understand the basis for the skepticism that they're hit with. It's not entirely about, Donald Trump's whole entire persona was the news is after me, the fake news is after me, I'm being persecuted, they're treating me unfairly. And even when things are true, the underlying claims are true, when you have people who kind of openly frame it as a political vendetta, they're not going to be taken seriously.
Yeah, no, it's true. And they're not taken seriously. People like her have no place in the Republican Party anymore if they've gone to her extent. There are plenty of people still in good standing in the Republican Party, getting more and more vocal, who want to part ways with Trump. They're just doing it more tactfully than she is.
Sure.
Well, Trump responded to the January 6 referrals on his Truth Social platform, saying, "These folks don't get it that when they come after me, people who love me, who love freedom, rally around me. It strengthens me. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." That's a statement without any kind of Trumpian flourish to it. I don't like it.
That's more Kelly Clarkson.
I didn't like it at all. He also wrote on the platform, maybe here we go. "The fake charges made by the highly partisan Unselect Committee of January 6th have already been submitted, prosecuted, and tried in the form of impeachment hoax number 2. I won convincingly. Double jeopardy, anyone?" There we go. That's what I'm looking for in a Trump statement.
Look, it's a Trump statement. It's Trumpy, but it also is basically what we just finished saying, that we've been through this before.
He was acquitted. He was the equivalent of acquitted.
Yeah.
That was the appropriate, the mechanism for holding him accountable for what happened on January 6th was impeachment and then a vote in the Senate to remove him from office. He was not removed from office. So I don't know what else you want from the political system. Sorry, the political system didn't give you the results you wanted. Got to move on.
Yeah.
Got to just work toward not having him be the Republican nominee and then not having him be the president if that's how you feel.
Yeah, frankly, Trump has lost a lot of his mojo. He's not on Twitter. I mean, technically he's allowed back on, but whatever deal he has with Truth Social has him not actually tweeting. He doesn't command the same attention that he used to. I did a radar a few weeks ago about how the media covered his presidential announcement as nothing to see here, folks, a low energy event. But if you want to give him some pep in his step again, make him a victim, make him a target, make him feel like he's an outsider that's being attacked unfairly by the establishment.
I've seen even very pro-Trump people kind of rolling their eyes at the Trump coin was a breaking point. Did you see that last week?
Yeah.
He was like, "Stay tuned for some big special announcement," and they're all excited, and then it was the equivalent of like an action figure.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some people speculating, and obviously was not the case, that he was going to be announcing that he would run independent, not third party. As a third party, not as a Republican. Basically doing the Kyrsten Sinema thing, where you either back down and don't run against him, or you threaten to ruin the whole thing for the right and throw it to the other side. Which I think would have been a much wiser and more interesting move than Trump coin. That would be very interesting, obviously, if he does that. The reason why that's not going to be such a rock solid strategy necessarily for him is that I believe if he does that, if he exits the Republican Party and runs, conservative media will universally turn on him. There will be no fence like they did in
sitting.
2016?
I think they'll all do it this time, even down the line. Could be wrong. That would be my prediction.
Was that not close to being the scenario in 2016 before he won them over? Initially, remember
he was
Jen,
still doing it within the party.
Yeah.
I think they will all say he is guaranteeing, by doing this, he's guaranteeing that Joe Biden is going to be reelected and socialism will roll in America. That's what they'll say. Could be wrong. That'd be my prediction.
Yeah.
He could still pull it off maybe, but he would have to do it with universal 100%. Like he would lose Sean Hannity. He would lose the most loyal people he has in conservative media. Would be my prediction. Could be wrong. We'll have to see if that happens. More Rising right after this.